Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my first impressions of Tales of the Kingdom by Asamiko Nakamura. This is a title of hers that I had never heard of before, but Asamiko Nakamura is one of the mangaka who, regardless of what it is, I will just pick up any of her works if they're released in English. So when this was released, I picked it up with no knowledge or expectation about what this story was. So there are more volumes of this. I don't think at this point that I'm filming this that any of I don't think volume 2 is out yet at this time. I have no concept or expectation of what the amount of volumes of this series is. I don't know if it's ongoing or if it's older. No idea. But I actually quite enjoyed this first volume. I really like the way that Asamiko Nakamura writes things. I love the artwork. The artwork is so stunning and captivating and gorgeous, and really lends itself to her stories. But I really like the way that she writes. Everything is very whimsical, whether or not it has a fantasy element. It is very calming, oftentimes quite dark. There's a darker undertone a lot of the times to what she writes, and this one is no exception to that. But basically, I think this is various stories all existing in the same universe. It's clearly a kind of royalty-centric sort of universe or country or whatever, but also very kind of ritualistic. I don't want to say religious because I'm not really sure that that's where this story is going, but a society very set in its ways on how succession to the throne happens and the way that royalty is treated versus non-royalty and all of this stuff. So in this particular volume, we have two kind of separate stories happening. Our first one features the two that are on the cover. They're siblings, and I won't spoil, but there's a particular situation between the two of them, and that's quite tragic, and they kind of take their lives into their own hands. The second half of this volume follows a servant to a different royal figure, and his complicated relationship with that individual. So I don't want to give too much detail because it is actually quite a fairly short volume, but also I think it's something that you really need to read to fully understand and enjoy. But for the most part, I think this is very captivating. Like I said, the artwork is just absolutely stunning. There is a lot of color pages in this one. A good portion of this volume is actually in full color, which is quite interesting and nice, and I wasn't expecting that. I think like I said, her artwork really, really lends itself to the stories that she writes. I think this is a beautiful, really beautiful story with a really dark undertone to it, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. I believe the next volume will kind of begin where we left off with the servant story. But I'm interested to see if we will ever revisit these two characters or if their story is already done. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'm curious. This is a very curious title. I am intrigued and I think I've already pre-ordered the second one. Pretty sure. But yeah, this is pretty good so far. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably know my feeling on these Yen Press hardcovers and how much I despise them. But this is the way it was released, so this is the way that I'm purchasing it. I really, really do not like their hardcovers. I think they're just a money grab, to be honest. This does not need to be a hardcover. I do not like I don't like dust jackets. I really don't like them at all, and So you add the dust jacket to a hardcover that I also dislike, and I just don't like it. It didn't need to be a hardcover, didn't need to have a dust jacket, but that's my feelings on that. So yeah, I wish this was released in a different format, but it is what it is. Other than that, I think that you should read Tales of the Kingdom. If any of what I've said sounds interesting to you, or if you've read Asumiko Nakamura's other works, and you're intrigued by her works and interested in picking something else up by her, yeah, I think it's worth it personally because I find value in it. But if none of that sounded interesting, maybe it's one that you skip. I wouldn't blanket recommend this one. There's definitely some themes that are uncomfortable. But for me, like I said, I really enjoy her works, and I will pick up anything that she releases or that gets released here by her, regardless of the subject matter. So, yeah, definitely worth it for me. Maybe not for you, though. But if you have checked this out, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any similar recommendations to this, let me know. I'd be interested in maybe checking out some other titles that might be in a similar vein to this for sure. So, thanks for watching.